When I learned I might only have 6 months left to live, I played a role-switching game with my daughter. 5-year-old Nan laughed joyfully. She patted my head, her voice soft and childish. From today on, I'm your mommy. I looked at her reluctantly, holding back tears with all my strength, and nodded. Then you have to take good care of me. And take good care of yourself. Because in the days to come, mommy would no longer be able to stay with you. Early in the morning, Nan stood on a small stool, waving a spatula and turning back to me. Mommy, no, Aria, shall we have bread with egg for breakfast today? I curled up under the covers and looked at her, my eyes curved into smiles. Okay, mommy. But when you fry the egg, you have to be extra careful. First, Nan cut me off and answered quickly. First, don't hold the egg too high, or you'll get splashed by oil. Second, kids can't eat runny eggs. Undercooked eggs might have germs. I gave Nan a big thumbs up. Awesome. You're becoming a really good mommy. The little one turned back proudly, struggling to hold the big oil bottle with her small hands and pouring it carefully into the pan. As soon as she turned around, my eyes welled up, and I quickly buried my face in the pillow. I needed to buy a small oil bottle later. This one was too big for her. I should also order a pair of goggles. What if she got oil in her eyes by accident? Even though I warned her 1,000 times, I still couldn't relax. After all, she was only 5. I could have taught her all this when she was older. But I didn't have time. When she grew up, would someone patiently tell her all these little things? When I lifted my head again, the pillow was already soaked through. After breakfast, when walking Nan to kindergarten, I deliberately slowed down half a step behind her. The little one excitedly pulled my hand ahead. Don't worry, Aria. Mommy knows the way. Turn the corner up ahead, and we'll be at kindergarten. I nodded in relief. But mommy, if we take other complicated roads, what should we do at red lights? Nan immediately shook her head and recited. Red light stop, green light go, yellow light wait and slow. Teacher taught me that a long time ago, Aria. We'd reached the kindergarten. I slowly straightened Nan's collar, unwilling to leave. You're so clever, Nan. But you also have to remember don't walk alone at night. If you have to, stick to busy places. Okay, but mommy. Nan dropped the game's nickname and tilted her head in confusion. Aren't we always together? At night. Why would I be alone? My tears almost burst out. I bit my tongue hard to hold them back. I bent down and pinched her soft little cheek, my voice still trembling. I mean later on. For now, mommy will definitely stay with you. Nan kissed me hard on the cheek. I want to stay with mommy at night forever. With that, she waved at me, grabbed her backpack straps, and hopped into the kindergarten. Turning around, I couldn't hold back any longer. Tears poured down my face. After leaving the school, I bought a bunch of small daisies by the road and went to the cemetery I often visited. There weren't many people there at this hour. Dew glistened on the grass beside the tombstone in the sunlight, not yet fully evaporated. I stopped and looked at my parents smiling at me from the black and white photo, forcing the corners of my mouth up. Mommy, Daddy, I'm here again. I miss you so much. I have good news to tell you. I'll be coming to keep you company soon. Between us, the year you had the car accident, I already wanted to come. But I was afraid you'd scold me if I did, so I gave up the idea. Later. Life wasn't very kind to me. But after I had Nan, I didn't want to die anymore. But last weekend, I found out I have a really serious illness. Even if you tell me not to come, I'm afraid I can't help it. My throat felt tight. I learned life is unpredictable the year you left. So I don't have a hard time accepting that I'm going to die soon. It's just, what will happen to Nan? The tears I've held back for so long flowed out again, uselessly. She's still so little. How pitiful she'll be without her mommy. Just thinking about Nan made my tears stream non-stop, my chest aching so badly I could barely breathe. Mommy, Daddy. What am I going to do about Nan? I clutched my chest and knelt before the tombstone, my forehead pressed against the cold stone, sobbing uncontrollably. After crying my heart out, the tightness in my chest eased a little. I pulled myself together and went to the company. I tapped lightly on the office glass door, and Manager Sue looked up with a smile. Aria Jing, you're here. Did you finish last week's proposal? She closed the file in her hand and chatted loudly. You look even thinner lately. You young people are always talking about losing weight. If you ask me, a little chubbier looks better. Manager Sue. I found it hard to speak, so I silently placed my resignation letter on her desk. Manager Sue's smile froze instantly. She frowned at me, suppressing her anger. What? Found a better job. I opened my mouth, but she ranted on angrily. Aria Jing, ask yourself how have I treated you? Because you said you're a single mom, I let you work flexible hours, no mandatory clock-ins as long as you finished your work. Last year, I pushed for you to be promoted to project lead despite objections. Now the project is halfway done, during our busiest season, and you're resigning. Tell me, do you have any conscience at all? Manager Sue. My throat felt stuffed with cotton. Thank you for always taking care of me and training me. It's just, I'm sick. Manager Sue froze, her voice softening. What illness? Look, I'll grant you sick leave first. No need to resign so urgently. I smiled bitterly. Pancreatic cancer. Late stage. Probably. Only 6 months left. The air turned still. The office went deadly quiet. After a long while, Manager Sue snatched the resignation letter, picked up a pen, and signed her name quickly. Approved. I'll count it as a layoff and apply for compensation for you. Take this form to HR first. Go get it done right away. This female boss who looked after me for years was still as decisive and tough on the outside, soft on the inside as ever. She kept her head down, her voice sounding impatient. But I clearly saw her tears falling one by one onto the desk. After finishing the resignation procedures at the company, it was almost time to pick Nan up from school. I headed straight to the kindergarten. Standing in the shade by the school gate, the familiar pain shot up from my abdomen again. Thin beads of sweat broke out on my forehead, the pain making me almost unable to stand. I quickly leaned against a tree trunk, took painkillers from my bag, and swallowed them. The intense pain made time drag on. About 10 minutes later, the medicine finally kicked in. Just then, Nan came out of the school gate. My Nan was so beautiful. Her big round eyes were dark like grapes. Her little face was soft and squishy, making people want to pinch it. Only the 2 little buns on her head were tied crookedly. I couldn't help smiling. My Nan would grow up to be an incredibly beautiful girl. Too bad I wouldn't live to see it. Nan saw me and waved her hands excitedly. Aria, I'm over here. Her voice was sweet and drawling, so cute it melted my heart. I walked over with a smile and held her hand. Nan, what do you want to eat tonight? Mommy will take you to the food street. Nan looked up at me excitedly. Really? I don't have to be mommy and cook dinner tonight. My nose stung. No. Being a mommy is hard work. Let's take turns. Okay. Nan nodded obediently and hopped forward. Okay, mommy. I'll be mommy more so you don't have to work so hard. I understood what she meant, and my eyes burned, tears threatening to fall again. After dinner, I guided Nan to take a bath by herself. Nan smelled lovely after her bath and lotion. I couldn't help holding her little face and kissing her over and over, never getting enough of looking at her. I held her in my arms, pointed to a prepared booklet, and told her each rule in a playful tone. Never pour flour or any powder in the kitchen if it touches an open flame. it will explode with a bang. Frozen food can't go straight into the fryer. Okay. It could start a fire. Nan, if a grown-up asks you for help, don't pay attention. It's not that you shouldn't be kind, but think. If they really needed help, why would they ask a kid smaller than them? The little head in my arms suddenly leaned against my arm. I looked down and saw Nan was already asleep. I felt both amused and heartbroken. I carefully carried her to bed, tucked her in, and watched her for a long time before turning off the light and slipping quietly out of the room. Looking at the thick booklet on the sofa, I frowned worriedly. There were so many things to warn her about. But I didn't have much time left. The days passed one by one, both long and fast. Before I knew it, it was the weekend again. I felt much weaker. Only makeup could make me look slightly healthy. The spring sun at 9 o'clock was soft, not glaring. Leaning against the horizontal bar, I watched Nan running around the slide greedily, a smile on my lips. But then something unpleasant happened. When Nan lined up again to climb the slide, the little boy who had just slid down ran over quickly. He refused to cue and roughly pushed Nan away. Nan fell hard on the concrete floor. Her elbow was red and scraped. Don't go. I shot to my feet and shouted at the boy. He was about Nan's age, probably intimidated by me, and froze in place. Nan's lips trembled, and she held out her hands toward me, about to cry. But I didn't hug her. Instead, I said coldly, "Push him back." Nan froze and looked at me uneasily. I raised my voice. "Now. Push him back." Nan didn't move, seemingly scared by my sternness, tears swirling in her eyes. Just then, the boy's grandmother rushed over. She rolled her eyes at me. "Are you crazy? Picking on a little kid?" She spat, picked up her grandson, and walked away. I knelt down and grabbed Nan's arm tightly. "Didn't I tell you? We don't bully others, but we can't let others bully us either. Mommy can't protect you forever. You have to be brave yourself." I grew more agitated. How many times have I said it? If someone bullies you, fight back if you can. If you can't, run and ask an adult for help at school, find a teacher, in the neighborhood, find mom. I froze. There would be no mom. I suddenly broke down, hugged Nan tightly, and burst into loud sobs. "I'm sorry, Nan. It's mommy's fault. I'm so sorry, baby. Nan, I'm sorry." Nan cried too. She patted my back helplessly with her small hands. "Don't cry, mommy. It's Nan's fault. Nan won't let anyone bully her anymore. You're the best mommy ever." I held her tighter and cried harder. I felt miserable all day. My body hurt, and my heart hurt even more. That night, after kissing the sleeping Nan goodnight, I took out my phone. My health had gotten worse and worse lately. I knew I couldn't put it off any longer. I finally tapped on that person's profile picture. Someone I thought I would never reach out to again in my life. After thinking for a long time, I sent her a WeChat message. "Are you free? Let's go. Shopping tomorrow, bring your son." She replied quickly. She sent her usual happy bunny sticker. "Sure. 上午10点, our usual spot." I typed and deleted my message over and over, finally sending only one word, "Okay." At the pedestrian street we loved to visit as students, I saw Zoe Lee as expected. She looked the same as always in her 30s, but not aging at all. She still wore the ballerina bun she used to like, with a little boy in a vest beside her. When she saw me, her eyes reddened for a second. Then she immediately pulled the boy over and linked her arm through mine familiarly. "How did you lose weight? You're so thin now, I'm jealous." She looked at me cheerfully, smiling widely. As if we were still the close best friends we'd been, with nothing bad ever happening between us. She smiled and patted Nan's head. "This is Nan, right? So pretty, just as lovely as in the photos. Then she pointed to the little boy beside her. This is Milo. Milo, say hi to Auntie and sister. It was my first time seeing Milo. Looking at his features, which somewhat resembled Nanan's, my heart was filled with mixed feelings. In the end, I only mechanically patted his head and pulled out a pre-prepared gift from my bag. Nanan was only half a year older than Milo. The two kids quickly warmed up, holding hands and hopping around everywhere. Zoe Lee was still as chatty as ever, chattering non-stop along the way. Most of the time, I just listened quietly, nodding occasionally. At noon, the kids begged for McDonald's. We found the nearest one. But once the food arrived, the little ones only took a few messy bites before saying they were full and running off to play in the corner play area. They were just kids, after all, easily distracted by fun. Zoe Lee and I stayed at our table, resting our heads in our hands, smiling as we watched them from afar. Milo ran too fast and fell into the ball pit after a while. Nanan helped him up and even blew on his sore little hand. Zoe Lee laughed. This little rascal is so clumsy, just like his dad. The atmosphere suddenly turned awkward. Zoe Lee realized she'd said the wrong thing, her smile fading as she made a frustrated face. I smiled faintly. It's okay. It's all in the past. Zoe Lee had been my best friend since childhood. After I gave birth to Nanan, I was delighted to find out she was pregnant too. I was truly happy for her. Until I found out the father of her child was my husband. I thought back then, if it had been anyone but her, I wouldn't have hurt so badly. After a hysterical breakdown, still in my confinement period, I filed for divorce. Nanan was naturally awarded to me. I raised her alone, wanting nothing to do with that side of the family. Until now, when I needed their help. I took a deep breath and looked up at Zoe Lee. In the future, Nanan will probably have to live with Henry Jiang. I watched her reaction nervously, afraid to see even a hint of disgust in her eyes. Zoe Lee looked surprised. What's wrong? Aren't you going to take care of Nanan anymore? Don't get me wrong. Henry is Nanan's father, so he has a duty to raise her. It's just that you were so against them meeting before. Why the sudden change? I'm dying. I said it plainly. Panic flashed in Zoe Lee's eyes. She forced a smile. What nonsense are you talking about? I silently pulled out the medical report from my bag and placed it in front of her. I know Nanan is an inconvenience to your family of 3. But I really have no other choice now. Zoe Lee stared at the report in disbelief. When she looked up, her eyes were red. Her voice trembled. How could this happen? You're still so young. I smiled bitterly and took out a diamond ring from my bag. This is the wedding ring Henry bought me. It never really belonged to me anyway. I'll give it to you now. Wish you both happiness. Zoe Lee cried. She choked up, speaking haltingly. Arya Jing, whether you believe it or not, you're still my best friend. I had a crush on Henry since before you got together with him. I kept those feelings hidden because of you. I felt so guilty ever since that night. I didn't want to hurt you, but I couldn't bear to abort the baby. You've avoided me ever since. Truth is, I didn't come to you begging for forgiveness. I just wanted to do something to make up for it. I forgive you, I said suddenly. I don't need you to make it up to me. But I'm begging you to do me one favor. For the sake of our years of friendship. When I'm gone. Bitter tears streamed down my cheeks. Can you please be kind to Nanan? I covered my face, but tears forced their way through my fingers. Please. Be good to my baby girl. Zoe Lee stood up crying, walked over to me, and pulled me into her arms. I will. I promise I will. That same night, Henry Jiang showed up at my door. Zoe Lee must have given him my address. I wasn't expecting him and met his gaze unprepared. He looked at me deeply, the corners of his eyes reddening. How did you get this thin? He reached out as if to touch my cheek, but I pulled away. Henry's hand hung in the air for a moment before he awkwardly lowered it. Just then, he noticed a small head peeking out from the bedroom. Nan, spying quietly. Henry's eyes grew even redder. He beckoned to her. Come here. Daddy wants a hug. Nan walked over slowly, hiding behind me, looking at him cautiously. Daddy. Isn't he dead? I laughed awkwardly. Over the years, Henry had asked to see Nan, but I refused. In my eyes, half-hearted, fragmented fatherly love was worse than none at all. Maybe because he already had a son, or maybe out of guilt, Henry hadn't pushed it. Only when he sent child support would he ask for a couple of recent photos of Nan. Now his face crumpled as he laid out the gifts he'd brought in front of Nan, his voice choked. I'm so sorry, baby. I'll make up for everything I owe you from now on. Perhaps it was blood ties after all. Nan soon stopped being afraid of him. Henry was good with kids, he had plenty of practice and won her over in no time. That night, after Nan fell asleep, Henry still sat on the sofa, showing no sign of leaving. It's late. I issued a quiet dismissal. But Henry inched closer to me awkwardly. Arya Jing, some words are useless now, but I still want to say them. I looked at him coldly, saying nothing. His eyes reddened as he spoke nervously. What happened between Zoe and me was really just an accident. I had too much to drink that night. I swear it only happened once. He hung his head dejectedly. I don't know how she got pregnant by some crazy coincidence. The truth is, whether back then or now, you've always been the one I love the most. Slap. A crisp slap echoed through the room. My chest heaved violently as I struggled to contain my anger. Henry Jiang, we're all adults. Stop blaming everything on alcohol. If you just admitted to cheating honestly, I might have respected you a little more. Everything you re-saying now just makes me even more disgusted. Henry looked at me in pain. Arya Jing, I'm sorry. I know I hurt you badly. You have no idea. The pain buried for years welled up thick and heavy in my heart. I lost my parents when I was a teenager. Do you have any idea how badly I craved to have a family again? Do you know how happy I was when I met you and had Nan? But you and my best friend pushed me off a cliff when I was the happiest. Do you have any idea how much it hurt? I wiped away the tears streaming down my face roughly. But none of that matters anymore. I don't want you to pay me back for what you owe me. But I need you to promise me one thing. I stared straight into his eyes. You must take good care of Nan. If you don't, I'll haunt you even as a ghost. Henry nodded heavily through his tears. I promise I will. You can trust me. I pulled the front door open and told him wearily. I only have a few months left. For Nan's sake, let's keep the last bit of dignity between us. After closing the door, I heard a man's muffled sobbing outside. Time was running out. I started arranging for Nan to spend time with that family, hoping she would fit in soon. Nan was so attached to me that she wanted me around no matter where we went. So I had no choice but to keep in frequent contact with the two people I'd rather not see. To be honest, watching the man I once loved and my best friend being so close, flirting casually, still made my skin crawl. Sick and weak, I looked at their lively family and felt more and more like a faint shadow. A lifeless shadow that could be blown away by a gust of wind. Only barely anchored to the ground because of Nan. The pain came more and more often, and I wasted away visibly day by day. Until I couldn't put it off any longer. I racked my brains every day, trying to figure out how to leave Nan with the least pain. In the end, I only came up with a clumsy way. One early summer evening, I held Nan in my arms as the evening breeze blew, and spoke carefully. Nan, do you know why Mommy has so much time to spend with you lately? Nan looked at me with her big dark eyes and shook her head. Because my boss gave me a long vacation. Once I rest well, Mommy has to go abroad for a very important research project. I can't take care of you for a while. Will you live with Daddy for now? I didn't know if Nan understood. She neither nodded nor shook her head, but tears began to well up in her eyes. I pulled her tightly into my arms, afraid she would see my own tears fall. The project is top secret, so Mommy can't come back to visit you. But I'll write you letters. Mommy doesn't want to leave you either, but we have to contribute to our country, right? You have to study hard too, and serve our country when you grow up. Maybe Mommy can come see you when you turn 18 and go to college. By the time Nan was 18, she would probably know it was just a kind lie. By then, she might have mostly forgotten me, so it wouldn't hurt so much. Nan nestled in my arms, tears rolling down non-stop. She whimpered softly. How long is that until I'm 18? My heart ached. I held her tighter, biting my lip hard to keep from sobbing aloud. Once the words of parting were spoken, Nan grew very sensitive. At night, she refused to sleep, holding my hand, staring at me with wide eyes, as if afraid I would disappear suddenly. I felt both amused and sad, so I simply lay down next to her. Mommy will sleep with you tonight. Nan held me close and murmured a quiet "hum." I patted her back gently again and again. Mommy will sing you a song to sleep. I hummed softly in her ear. High on the green mountain, daylilies bloom. Pick one for my little girl. Tuck it in your hair, hold it in my heart. Stay with you till you grow up, and watch you become a bride. 9. Early the next morning, while Nan was still asleep, Henry Jiang arrived. He lifted her gently, his eyes full of worry as he glanced at me. Let's go quickly. Tears streamed down my face. I turned around at once, afraid that one more look would make me change my mind out of reluctance. Shortly after Nan was taken away, I collapsed at home. I was already at my last gasp, holding on only by willpower. When Nan left, she took all my strength with her. Zoe Lee, who had come to visit, sent me to the hospital. I knew I was nearing the end. I had wasted away to almost nothing, but my feet were swollen like steamed buns. The tumor had spread to my liver. At this stage, the doctors could do nothing. Death was only a matter of time. But I couldn't die yet. Whenever I felt a little better, I forced myself to write letters to Nan. I had to write enough until she was 18. I couldn't leave before I finished. Zoe Lee said Nan was very sensible. She cried for Mommy sometimes, but she was well-behaved most of the time. I listened quietly, my heart feeling hollowed out, aching terribly. I held on every day with longing and letter writing. But just as I was about to finish the last letter, a bolt from the blue hit me. Nan had run away from home. Henry rushed into my ward, out of breath, and asked anxiously, Aria Jing, is Nan with you? My heart skipped a beat. I forced myself up. What do you mean? Nan is missing. She doesn't even know where I am. Why would she come to the hospital? Henry looked at me anxiously. She ran away from home and left a note saying she was going to find Mommy. I almost cried from panic. I banged my head lightly to calm myself down. A few seconds later, I looked up. Let's check my place first, my home. Let's go right now. I'm coming too. At my front door, I saw Nan, just as I'd feared. She was sitting on the ground leaning against the door, curled up into a ball with her knees hugged, like an abandoned puppy. When she saw me, she rubbed her eyes in disbelief, then shouted Mommy, and threw herself into my arms, sobbing. I held her tightly, my heart breaking as I watched her shoulders shake with tears. Nan looked at me through her sobs. Mommy, you're dying, and you left because you didn't want me to be sad, right? I froze. I've known for a long time. You used to feel soft when I hugged you, but then you got so skinny. Your tummy always hurt, and you took so many pills. I knew they weren't vitamins. I asked Sister Yaya secretly. She didn't know what they were either, but she could read. She asked the AI for me. The AI said they're cancer medicine. I know what cancer is. It's the scariest sickness. Sister Yaya's grandma died of cancer. I knew you didn't want me to worry, so I pretended I didn't know. I only cried quietly at night. I looked at Nanan through blurry tears, too heartbroken to speak. Nanan went on choking up. But mommy, I want to stay with you. Even if you're dying, I want to be by your side and take care of you. I'm a brave big girl now. Please don't leave me secretly again. Okay. I held the tearful little girl in my arms and broke down crying. Mommy was wrong. I'll never leave you again. That afternoon, Nanan stayed with me in the hospital. She lay by my bed. That night, only after making sure I wouldn't leave was she reluctantly pulled away by Henry, looking back at me every step. Since it was summer vacation, Nanan spent most of her days in the ward with me. Sometimes she read stories to me, sometimes she brought me water or peeled apples. Doctors and nurses all praised her, saying she was the most sensible child they ever met. Often, Nanan would cook something at home and bring it over. By then I could barely eat anything, but I still took a few happy bites, then sneaked to the bathroom to throw up when I felt sick. I grew weaker and weaker, barely having the strength to speak. When I fell asleep, Nanan would watch me by the bed. Several times, half asleep, I felt her carefully checking my breath with her finger. I smiled weakly at her. Don't be scared, Nanan. Mommy won't die suddenly. You're starting primary school soon, and I want to see you in your smart new uniform. But living was agony. The painkillers worked less and less. My veins grew thinner and thinner, until needles could barely be inserted. Every time the pain hit, I wished I were already dead. Once, I couldn't bear the pain any longer. I forced myself up and banged my head against the wall to ease the suffering a little. In the brief moment of relief, I suddenly saw that Nanan, who had just left, had come back. She stood at the door, holding back tears, her lips trembling, and walked in slowly. Mommy, I'm going to the bathroom. But the second the bathroom door closed, I heard a child's helpless, loud crying. I couldn't hold back anymore either. I gripped the sheets and sobbed quietly. That afternoon, half conscious, I heard Nanan whimpering by my bed. Mommy, I wish I could take the pain for you. But I can't. I'm being selfish. If it hurts too much, I don't want you to stay with me anymore. Even in my foggy state, tears rolled from the corners of my eyes onto the pillow. 2 days before Nanan was supposed to start school, I finally couldn't hold on any longer. Henry Jiang and Zoe Li both cried by my bed that day. The doctor shook his head, saying there was nothing more to be done. In my final moments, I gathered my last breath, opened my eyes, and looked at Nanan, who was crying bitterly. She held my hand, wearing the primary school uniform we'd bought early, sobbing uncontrollably. Mommy, don't worry about Nanan. Nanan will be a first grader soon. I can cook and wash clothes. I can take care of myself. If it's too tiring for you, just go to sleep, okay? Today, I'll be the mommy. Little Aria, mommy will sing you to sleep. In my last moment, a child's tearful voice hummed in my ear. High on the green mountain, daylilies bloom. Pick one for my little girl. This story makes me deeply realize the value of family love and the unpredictability of life. Knowing her time was limited, the mother endured pie. And to teach her daughter independence and self-protection. She used role-play to help the girl learn life skills, which contained the deepest love. The little girl seemed innocent but had already noticed her mother's illness and stayed sensible quietly. It also reminds us to cherish time with family and express love timely. Teaching children to be brave, independent and self-protective is the most precious gift from parents. Meanwhile, honesty and company comfort hearts more than white lies when facing separation. Love and courage can help children move forward bravely on the way of growth.